All right, cool. And we should be live in just about a second here. Awesome. So the stream is going. I'll go ahead and wait a few minutes for everyone to join. And let me just go ahead and announce this on Discord. All right, cool. So let's do this. All right, sick. All right, so I think the live stream should be working. If you guys can hear me, just go ahead and say hello in the chat. What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in. We have Love, Nico, we have Solus, Slayer, Luke. I'm seeing a bunch of you guys tuning in right away. We have Sarah, exactly. Christy, Kaj, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I know tomorrow is the first day of school for a lot of you guys. So today we are doing a live Q&A session, helping you guys prepare for the first day of school. And yeah, whether you're in high school, college, middle school, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and try to spend most of the stream helping you guys, nail the first day, kind of figure out how to actually study for exams, what you should bring on the first day of school. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's see, we have a lot of questions already coming in. Let me just go ahead and open up the chat. And before I begin, I do want to do one thing that I did in my last live stream, which was pretty fun. Guys, are you in high school, middle school, or college? I'm honestly very curious because for the longest time, I thought that most of you guys were from in like middle school or like 6th or 7th grade. But in the last live stream, I did a poll and a bunch of you guys ended up being in high school, and that was pretty surprising. So I'm going to go ahead and do a poll. Everyone is saying high school. That's actually kind of surprising. I feel like just based on the chat alone, it kind of seems like a third of you guys are saying middle school and like 2/3 are saying high school. But let's go ahead and do a poll and let's go ahead and see what the actual answer is. So let's see. Middle school, high school, or college. Let's go ahead and see. So let me just do middle school. Awesome. High school. And let's do college. And also I have there we go. College. Ask. So guys, go ahead and vote on the poll. I'm honestly going to be very surprised if we have like a sizable college audience, but we'll see. All right, the poll is up. I'm going to go. I forgot to include elementary school. I swear to God, if we have like elementary school kids watching this, that's going to be pretty surprising to me. Okay, so we have a decent number of middle schoolers watching, but the majority of you guys are in high school. Okay, and we have a few kids that are also, or a few like people that are also in college. I wouldn't call college students kids, I guess. Someone said preschool, nice. Okay, so there we go. So we have high school up to 55%, and we have middle school at 38%. And okay, so maybe I should have done elementary school. How about this? If you are in elementary school, let me know in the chat and let me know what grade you're in. Hopefully we don't have anybody below 5th grade right now. I'm not gonna lie though, a couple weeks ago I saw someone comment on one of my videos like I'm in the 3rd grade, and I was honestly just shocked. Someone said 7th, 11th, 9th grade. Okay, so 1st grade preschool, you guys are hilarious. You guys are really funny. 4th grade, 2nd grade. See, I can believe like a 4th grader might be watching this stream, but there is absolutely no way anybody under 4th grade is watching this. Like 2nd grade, 3rd grade, there's absolutely no way. Okay, so that kind of helps me a lot kind of figure out how to tailor the stream and what kind of advice to give. So we have mostly high school students, so I'm going to go ahead and tailor my advice to that. And before I go ahead and keep talking, guys, can you hear the fan in the background? Because for all of my previous live streams, I always turn the fan off so there wouldn't be a lot of background noise. But it's kind of hot right now, so I have like this one fan pointed towards me. Do you guys hear like a lot of noise in the background, or is it fine? Okay, no. Okay, cool, can't hear it. Cool, so I won't be like dying of heat during this live stream. Cool. Honestly, that's one of the main reasons I don't stream too often, because like it's a really hot room and like it's the middle of the summer. But if you guys don't hear that, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So let me just go ahead and put my face down in the corner here. So yeah, guys, I know the first day of school is tomorrow for a lot of you. And actually, let me know. Let me see. Let me end this poll and let me go ahead and ask. Has the first day, or have you had your first day of school yet? Have you had your first day of school yet? Let's see. We have yes, no. Let's go ahead and ask. How do I choose a major? Tips for bad teachers. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about bad teachers for a little bit. Do you guys want to talk about that right away? Okay, so we have no, 62%. Okay, so a lot of you guys have not started school yet. But I kind of feel like most of you will be starting like either this week or next week. Yes. Okay, so it's like 60-40, yes, no, yes. All right, cool. All right. Nice. Okay, so a lot of you guys have not started school. Yeah, most of you guys. I'm kind of surprised because I feel like whenever I go on TikTok, a lot of you guys have told me, oh, I started school like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'm kind of surprised. Okay, so someone is saying tip for bad teachers, bad teachers. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about that for a second here. And let me change my window so I can actually play a game while we're doing this. Okay, so you guys are asking about bad teachers. Let me go ahead and give you my thoughts. So, bad teachers are kind of inevitable, but to be honest, I feel like I'm gonna give you guys my hot take here. I feel like a lot of students complain about bad teachers, but I feel like it's often less the fault of the teacher, and sometimes it's just about the student's motivation and willingness to learn a particular subject. Like, for example, if you're not into chemistry, it's very easy to say, oh, like the teacher's super boring, but is the teacher boring or is the subject just boring to you? So I think a huge part of, making school or dealing with bad teachers per se is just like finding a way to like actually immerse yourself in the subject. But I'm not going to dive into that part here. Let's go ahead and talk about bad teachers. Like let's actually assume you have a bad teacher who maybe, goes through lectures way too fast, or maybe doesn't answer questions during class, or maybe just like reads off the slides. My advice is, you honestly have to teach yourself. And I did have like one of those classes back in high school. I'm not going to say which subject. I don't want to call out teachers in particular, just in case someone from my high school is watching this. But there would be times when I would take to like Khan Academy or watch YouTube videos just to understand topics by myself. And that's typically like the main solution that you have for bad teachers. There's not much you can do beyond that, to be honest. Like, you're not going to go up to your teacher and say, oh, can you please like, teach this subject better? So I think, if you deal with bad teachers and if you're motivated to get good grades, you kind of have to figure out what resources online you want to start going to learn a particular subject. And there are some, for example, like there are a bunch of YouTube teachers that teach like particular AP subjects that are very good at what they do. I believe like Heimler's history, I didn't have him when I was in high school, but I know my younger brother uses him. I know a lot of students use him. And if your teacher is not teaching you in the best way, you have plenty of fantastic teachers on YouTube that are teaching like the exact same content. So here we go. Let me go ahead and answer some more questions that you guys might have. So yeah, guys, just leave your questions in the stream chat. I'm going to go ahead and read off and try to answer as many questions as I possibly can. Tips for incoming freshmen, please. Tips for upcoming freshmen. Okay, so a lot of people are posting tips for incoming freshmen. Let's go ahead and cover that. So we have probably a handful of, rising ninth graders in this stream right now. So let's go ahead and talk about how to nail your high school experience if you are going to high school, in like a week or two. So here's my advice for high school. The dynamics of high school are a lot different from the dynamics in middle school. So middle school is weird in that a lot of people care about being cool or fitting in and dressing well. And, that sort of sentiment does continue throughout high school as well, but it's way less noticeable. In middle school, it's particularly... wow, hold up. I just lost my train of thought. The Placer, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. That's like one of the highest super chats we've ever gotten. Thank you so much. I'm going to answer your question first, and then I'll get back to, my tips for freshman year of high school. So, the Placer says, junior in high school this year and wondering what I should do this year to stand out to colleges. 4 leadership roles, DECA fundraising, TVEP ping pong captain, and 2 sports. Could you just clarify what TVEP, what that acronym stands for? Let's see. And 2 sports, cross-country, track, 3 APs, A-push lang, computer science, and 4 honors. Okay, so the first thing that stands out to me about your profile is you only have 3 AP classes, but I'm not going to critique you about that right away, because maybe your school doesn't offer too many AP courses. But personally, I think by the time I was a junior, I had taken 3, 4, 5, maybe like 8 or 9 AP classes. If your school has more AP classes, I would recommend maybe strengthening your profile there first, just taking more harder courses. In terms of leadership roles, I think your activities are solid. But let's see. Let me just see if the Placer clarified. Okay, we have a ton of messages here. I think I might have missed it, but here we go. So then you have DECA, ping pong. I think your activities are interesting. I think the one thing that I'm not immediately picking up on is like your academic interest. So when you're applying to top colleges, a lot of these colleges will try to see, what kind of student you'll be on their campus, and more particularly like what academic subjects you're going to pursue. And I think some of the strongest college applicants tend to have a very nuanced, you know, academic interest, whether it's biology, philosophy, mathematics. And I don't see that here right away. So maybe you want to hone that in during your junior year. For example, maybe you can join more academic specific clubs, or maybe start your own outside of school. But I think the fact that you have leadership roles is fantastic. Four is incredible. Sports is great. Sports, maybe it'll be like a small positive on your application, but it won't make or break it. If you're not like captain or varsity or something. But hopefully that helps. If you have more questions, just let me know in the stream chat. Maybe I will go ahead and I'll try my best to catch your comments here. Okay, so back to tips for freshman year of high school. Let me go ahead and give you my tips. So where did I leave off? I was talking about the difference between middle school and high school, and how middle school is, very focused around looks, being cool, being popular, fitting in. And yeah, that kind of continues into high school as well. It doesn't really go away, I feel, until college. But my main piece of advice to you, and I know this is going to be hard, don't try too hard to fit in right off the bat. I think in high school, you'll have way more clubs, way more extracurricular opportunities that'll give you the chance to find friends that are more like you, or find people that you're more comfortable around. So I think high school is, first of all, the opportunity to kind of stop trying to be cool or stop trying to fit in. And then along those lines, join as many clubs as you can during the first few weeks of high school, which is unpopular advice because, maybe some students will say, oh, shouldn't you prioritize classes? And that is true, which is why I want you to join a bunch of clubs, but then drop the ones that you're not really vibing with maybe like a week or two later. So enter high school, spend the first few weeks joining a bunch of clubs, see what you kind of, enjoy the most, and then cut out what you feel like isn't really meant for you. And I'll give you an example. When I joined high school, I joined newspaper club, I joined debate club, I joined student council, I joined the cross country. I did like a few other things as well, but right off the bat, I realized I wasn't really big into debate, and it was kind of hard to balance with newspaper club, which I was more passionate about. So try to figure out, what you want to care more about, what you want to pay more attention to, during your freshman year. And along those lines, try to build the best study habits that you possibly can. If you didn't use any sort of organization tool during middle school, it is the time to start doing that in high school. Like use Google Calendar, maybe use Todoist. I know some students use like Monday. Everyone has their own preference, but I highly recommend that you at least use a calendar app so you know when your classes are, when your exams are, and sort of what you have to study for when. Okay, so the placer, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. The placer says EP means executive producer for my school's broadcasting program. I'm interested in film and business. Okay, there we go. Now we're sort of getting more of like your academic interest here. 3.8 GPA, 4.5 weighted GPA. GPA seems solid. My school offers 15 APs, but I have no more room on my schedule. Okay, so first things first, if you have no more room on your schedule, and guys, this goes for anyone listening to this stream, if you want to take like AP classes or honors classes, but your schedule doesn't have room, what you end up wanting to do, or what you want to do, is on your college application, specify that in the additional information section. So, for example, if you end up taking, like, imagine you have to take Spanish, and that for that reason you can't take like AP Environmental Science or AP US History. Let colleges know in the additional information section. And here we go, executive producer. I think that's interesting. So I think the film and business combo here is intriguing. It's unique. And this is one thing that I tell students all the time. If you can, try to explore intersections. Don't just go in and say, oh, I love biology or I love math. That can work, but it's so much like easier to stand out if you find like a more nuanced blend of academic interests. So in this case, film and business is fantastic. Like imagine maybe you start, filming for other people, and that becomes like a little side hobby of yours. Imagine you start like a YouTube channel, start uploading short films. Imagine you like enter short film competitions and win, scholarships. I feel like there's a lot of potential avenues that you can take. So I think what you have going on is solid. My main piece of advice, honestly, is just to take harder courses if you can. which I understand might be tough to do so. So I would highly recommend going up to your guidance counselor and seeing if there's any way, you know, they can essentially accommodate you here. Okay, so where did we leave off on the high school advice? So we talked about freshman year, we talked about study tips, calendar, using productivity tools. What else do I have for you guys? So let's talk about sports. I'll keep this to like 10 seconds. If you have never done a sport before, try it out. Just try it out freshman year. If it isn't for you, you'll know very quickly, and there's no harm in trying, because even if your freshman year grades aren't the best, like, colleges will understand. I feel like they kind of give most slack to your freshman year grades. It's not really until like sophomore year that you kind of really have to get things going in terms of your GPA and your overall academic performance. And also, while I'm giving advice, do you guys want me to click on any particular game here? If not, I'll go back to drawing a perfect circle. Okay, so let's see. What other questions do we have? We have tips for eighth, tips for preschool, freshmen. Here, a lot of you guys are asking like tips for X grade. Here's the reality. A lot of my advice is going to be the same across different grades, unless we're talking, like 5th grade versus like 10th grade. But if we're talking 8th, 9th, 10th, there are many similarities, and I don't want to just like repeat myself here. But if you have more specific questions, someone is asking what are the best clubs, for example, I can answer that. If you have any other more specific questions, I would be happy to answer during this live stream. So let's see. So Margaret is asking, what are the best clubs? Okay. My advice is any club that you can go far in. So it doesn't necessarily matter which clubs you join, as long as A, you thoroughly enjoy that club, and B, for that reason, you can actually excel and go far in that club. So for example, if you know that you are super passionate about environmental science and your school has a club about that subject, join it and then try to run for like president by the time you're a junior. Think about the long term when you're joining clubs. Think about what you can potentially gain a leadership role in, and think about what you're most passionate about. Because colleges care less about the particular club and more about how far you went in it, what your impact was, how much you cared about it, things along those lines. And then I will also add, if you're aiming for top schools like Harvard, MIT, Stanford, whatever it is, it's going to be hard to get in if you only have joined clubs like National Honor Society or Student Council, right? Because those are clubs that almost every high school has, that almost every high school student has joined. And so you're better off joining maybe clubs that are a bit more niche, or by maybe even starting your own club and sort of seeing where that takes you. All right, so we have $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Best BS. Really do appreciate that. You're asking tips for incoming sophomores, taking my first APs this year. Well, that is great because that's exactly what happened to me. So I took my first APs my sophomore year of high school as well. And so, yeah, let's talk about 10th grade. So 10th grade, I think, is the year of the activities, like the year of the clubs. So, by 9th grade, by the end of 9th grade, you should have sort of honed, maybe your particular academic interest, which clubs you want to go far in. 10th grade is the one year that you just kind of want to go ham on your extracurricular activities. So that might be, either running for leadership roles, it might be starting your own club, starting your own organization, or finding opportunities outside of your school. For example, you have summer programs, you can potentially do research, which is becoming almost, in my opinion, a bit too common nowadays, but research it's a great way to show academic or intellectual vitality. But yeah, 10th grade is honestly all about extracurricular as well, of course, keeping your grades up. And I guess my one question for you would be is, how many APs are you taking? Because if you're aiming for top schools, try to take as many as you can. And here's a small life hack. If your school only lets you take 1 or 2 AP classes your sophomore year, go to your guidance counselor and see if maybe you can take an extra one. See if they can, make some special accommodations for you, because that's what I did when I was in high school. And that allowed me to take 2 instead of 1 AP classes my sophomore year of high school. Tips for 3rd grade, tips for 6th grade. I can believe 6th grade, 7th grade. There's no way we have 2nd graders on this stream. Okay, let's see. Someone's saying, please do the password game. The password game is long. I might do that towards the end of the live stream. I kind of want to see what other games we have. So we have designed the next iPhone. I kind of want to see what's going on. Oh, what in the world is this? What in okay. What? This is kind of unique. Okay, so we have an iPhone here. I feel like the Apple logo, I feel like that's a thing of the past. I feel like it kind of makes it look sort of dated. Here, I'll design an iPhone while answering questions. All right, Cheese Pizza is asking honestly a great question. What combinations of study habits, time management techniques, and effective learning strategies do you recommend for students aiming to consistently achieve high grades in their studies? So, I'm going to go ahead and give you just maybe one or two study techniques that I think every student can, kind of leverage to become a better student. And sort of techniques that I leveraged back when I was in high school. So, one thing that I did in high school was I evenly distributed everything. I've made like a couple of videos about this. Maybe you have heard this before, so I'll keep it brief. Back in high school, I would take, any assignment and divide it by the number of days that I had to do that assignment. So for example, if I had like 70 pages of like a textbook to read and I had 7 days to do that, I would read 10 pages every single day. I honestly hated the feeling of cramming at the last minute back in high school. So I would honestly just divide everything evenly, and it would take so much pressure off, like the day before the assignment was due. Is it gonna let me do this? What in the world is this? Why is it letting me put? I can just put these things anywhere. That's kind of hilarious. Pro stand. What is going on here? HDMI port on the iPhone. That's sick. Pair logo. I've always wanted to have a Pair phone. What else do we have? Antenna? There's no way. All right, there. Let's click present. The all new iPhone starting at 24.
This isn't just an upgrade.
This is so. What in the world is this? Okay, so yeah, so I would evenly distribute everything, and I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but I will say two more techniques that I do think are helpful. Spaced repetition and active recall. So the basic idea here is that when you learn something, you're going to forget it almost right away, right? It's like you go to a lecture, you pick up the information, and chances are the next day you can barely recall anything. And so for that reason, it's best that after you learn something, you review it right away, like the next day, and then you review it again, maybe 3 days later, then 5 days later, then 10 days later. The gaps should be increasing. But the idea is that you're kind of repeatedly revisiting the content over time until the time that you have, like a quiz. And Samantha, thank you so much for becoming a member on this channel. That means a lot. And yeah, I started a membership on this channel a couple weeks ago, and I'm surprised you found that and joined because I was planning to announce it, in a couple weeks. I do plan to have a bunch of perks for members on this channel. We'll be having members-only live streams, members-only Q&As. So yeah, if you guys want to be part of those members-only live streams where you can probably, get a more intimate environment where I can actually, read your questions, feel free to join the channel membership. Tips for 6th grade, tips for incoming freshmen. We just did freshmen, unfortunately. Oh, how do you present the best presentation? I can give some quick presentation tips. Do you guys want me to do that? Just say yes or no in the stream chat. If a lot of you guys say yes, I'll give like more in-depth advice, but if most of you say no, I'll just give like my basic quick pointers for presentations. Let's see. Printing money, what is this? What in Oh, this is kind of interesting. Okay, so yeah, minimum wage here. Yes. We have a handful of yeses here in the stream chat. All right, let's go ahead and do that real quick. Quick presentation advice. Okay, so while I scroll through this and show you guys how much money different jobs earn, I'm going to go ahead and give you my advice for presentations in high school. So tip number 1, the best presentations, or like the students who give the best presentations, are those that don't read off the slides. And that was a skill that I tried to perfect throughout high school and even had the chance to do so in college, because back in college we were required to take a couple public speaking courses, a couple like courses where we had to give a bunch of presentations. And those were honestly some of my strongest classes. Like, they were a lot of fun, and I did a ton of presentations. So what you want to do is A, you don't want to read off the slides, and B, you want to keep your slides super simple. I think the biggest mistake a lot of students make in middle school and high school is that they put all their information on the slides because they want their slides to seem, very informative and very detailed. But presentations are kind of like counterintuitive, right? Whereas with essays, you want to be as detailed as possible. With presentations, you want your slides to be very simple, very digestible, unless your teacher says otherwise. But, think of Apple's presentations, for example, right? They don't have a bunch of text back when Steve Jobs was like announcing the iPhone, right? He wasn't like reading off a bunch of slides. He had mostly imagery, and most of what he was saying was already trained, memorized. And I think those tend to be like the best presentations where you have a story in mind and your slides simply serve to augment that story, not so much replace or be the story itself. Okay, so we have Fortune 500 CEO, 4K an hour. This is insane. Okay, so now these are $1,000 bands. So we have Twitter's revenue. Well, this is outdated. NASA, 2.5 million an hour. That's actually absurd. Facebook, 8 million an hour. Amazon's revenue, 32 million an hour. Okay, someone is asking tips for making new friends. All right, so I'll talk about making new friends real quick. Maybe I'll talk about it in the context of college, because honestly, middle school, high school dynamics are kind of weird. I could give you my advice, for making friends in middle school, high school, but I kind of know what the scenario is like for most students. And okay, so middle school, high school, honestly, I think joining clubs, joining organizations is kind of the best opportunity to sort of meet people that align with your interests, with your personality. College is different because in college, nobody knows who you are. Nobody really has any preconceived notions of your character or personality or of how outgoing you are. So college is like the perfect opportunity to almost reinvent yourself. In which case I recommend, during your first few weeks of college, literally just go up to students in the dining hall, say hi, introduce yourself, go to events and just introduce yourself to people, in your dorm at these events in the dining hall, especially during like the first few weeks or even like the first month or two of college, because everyone is just so open. Nobody knows each other and people won't think you're weird for just saying hi, Walmart revenue 50. Walmart makes more than Amazon. Maybe that makes sense. I'm kind of surprised to see that actually. U.S. military spending 84 million an hour. U.S. deficit. At this point, I can't even this is ridiculous. Oh, I think a while ago I actually saw one of these games over here that was the deep sea. This page is insane. So this will put into kind of perspective how deep the ocean actually is. I went through this a couple like a week ago, and I was like, oh my god, this thing just keeps going and going and going, and I just keep scrolling and scrolling. It's kind of ridiculous. Do you guys want to do this? Just say yes or no in the stream chat. And in the meantime, I'll pull out a question here. All right. Let's see. How do you get motivated to do homework you don't want to do, and tips for valedictorian? Okay, so let's talk about homework motivation real quick. I think we have mostly yeses over here. All right, let's go ahead and explore the deep sea. I think you guys will be surprised by how far this actually goes. And if it's taking too long at some point, I'll just scroll faster. All right, sick. So someone asked, how do you find motivation to do homework that you don't want to do? So let's go ahead and talk about homework motivation, kind of finding motivation for work, especially with the new school year starting soon. So finding motivation for homework is tough. And, finding motivation to do anything, not even homework, is going to persist throughout the rest of your life. Whether it's showing up to work and doing an assignment, whether, for me some days, honestly, it's like finding the motivation to make a TikTok. Because some days I'll be like, I don't know what to talk about today. And that's not to say that, I don't enjoy making TikToks. Like, I love being able to do what I do. It's just that some days, it's harder than others. And same thing with homework, same thing with schoolwork. Sometimes I think some assignments are kind of exciting. You might be pumped to kind of just jump in and do them, but at some other times, it might be harder to get started. So, Oh, and by the way, before I continue with advice, Marcos, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. But he says, guys, stop asking for middle school tips. Calm down. That's actually hilarious. Maybe I'll do some middle school advice towards in like a little bit. I don't want to ignore all the middle schoolers that are here right now, asking for advice. I do want to help you guys out as well. But let's go ahead and talk about homework real quick. So, tip number one, if you can, start your homework while you're in school. This might not be popular with teachers, and I do want to bring some clarity to this piece of advice. I'm not saying just do your homework while your teacher is talking, but if, for example, you find a pocket of time, maybe at the end of a class, or maybe not during lunch, during lunch you should focus on eating, but maybe at the end of the school day, right? If you're in homeroom and you have like 10 extra minutes, maybe that might be a good opportunity to just do like the first problem of a homework assignment, or to write just like the first sentence of an essay. And the reason you want to do this is because when you get home, it's much easier to just keep the momentum going than it is to just start, from scratch. So tip number one is to just start while you're in school and keep the momentum going as soon as you get home. Tip number two, let's say you're at home and didn't have the chance to start your homework in school. Do the countdown method. Count down from 3, and 3, 2, 1. As soon as that countdown is over, find the impulse to jump up out of your bed, out of your couch, and just go straight to your desk. The countdown method is honestly pretty popular among students, among everyone really, for just kind of finding that initial motivation to start your work. Tip number 3, maybe when you come home from school, just find the time to like set up your work environment. Like maybe just place your pencil down, a piece of paper down, like your notebook down on your desk, so that sure, maybe you can take a break right after that. But once you're done with your break, it's going to be easy starting your homework because all your like materials, all your supplies are already there. They're already out on your desk. And so you don't really feel like, you have to go through the burden of kind of getting everything ready. All right, so as you can see, we're still scrolling. I'm going to scroll a bit faster here. But yeah, notice how we've been scrolling through the ocean for like a solid couple minutes here. This page just keeps going on and on and on and on. And it's kind of ridiculous how far it actually goes. Oh, and also if you guys want to play a different game, just let me know. I was honestly thinking about doing like a Minecraft live stream, or maybe even like a Go Hardest Guide Minecraft server, but I feel like that would just be way too chaotic. Who knows? Maybe we'll do it in the future though. Okay, someone is asking, how do we deal with burnout and stress? So I think burnout and stress is a great topic to address, because it applies to students in like every single grade. Okay, so burnout and stress are inevitable parts of being a student. And, a couple pieces of advice here. Sometimes like when you're feeling stressed, like the unfortunate truth is that you can't simply avoid your work, right? Like maybe like an essay is stressing you out, and the reality is it has to get done, right? So as much as I would love to say, hey, if you're feeling stressed, just pretend the essay doesn't exist and go enjoy your time, that might not be like the most practical response here. So here's what I recommend doing instead. I think when most students feel stressed is because they're thinking about like everything they have going on, right? Like for example, if you this thing is actually insane. Like we're not even a third of the way done scrolling here, but I'm gonna scroll faster while I give my advice. So what you want to do is sort of reframe how you think about all the work you have to do. So whereas some students will just think about all the work they have to do and they'll carry that sort of mental baggage as they're doing their work, others just think about, like the next step they have to take. And I think that's the healthier way to think about things if you want to feel less stressed, right? So here's what I mean. Let's say you have a bunch of work to do, essays, homework, reading. Don't think about all those three things at once. Just tell yourself, oh, I have a reading to do. And, even instead of that, just say, oh, I only have to read 5 pages. Just kind of convince yourself that you only have to get started or do a little bit of work, and try to like crowd out those kind of intrusive thoughts that are telling you, oh, hey, you have all this work to do. You should be so stressed, like the work is never going to end. Just kind of reframe your perspective and just think about like the next few steps you have to take. And that might help alleviate a lot of that sort of stress that comes with, a lot of work. And when it comes to burnout, best piece of advice there is to like figure out how you can sort of decompress and relax during the weekends. Like using weekends efficiently to sort of recover from like a stressful school week uh, is a great way to, circumvent burnout. What is paper? Fold. Oh yeah, isn't there a thing that says like if you fold a piece of paper like some amount, like 32 times or something, like it's as tall as like some building. I forget what it is exactly, but let's see what it says. So you fold it 7, 8. I just click a bunch of times. Yeah, 19 folds, and now it's the wingspan of a Boeing 747. That's crazy. 21 folds. 22 folds were as tall as the Eiffel Tower. 23 folds were as tall as the Burj Khalifa. This is ridiculous. 28 folds. Let's get to like, how far does this go? All right, 39 folds. We're now longer than the diameter of Neptune. 42 folds, and now we have officially reached the moon. Yeah, that's actually insane. I think there's a video where like a YouTuber actually tried to fold a piece of paper, as many times as they could. I forget how many folds they actually got to, but it was pretty intriguing. All right, so tips for studying. Unfortunately, we have already gone through a couple studying tips during this live stream, and I don't want to just like repeat myself for all the people that have kind of been here for a while now. Here, I think people are asking about middle school tips. Let me go ahead and end this poll and see if you guys actually want middle school advice, and if so, maybe we'll deliver here. So let's see. Middle school tips. Let me just make a poll right here. Middle school tips. Yes, no. All right, so so to all the middle schoolers here, you have to vote out all the high school and college kids that are currently watching this stream. If you want me to dive deep into like middle school advice. Oh no. What is it at? Oh, it's kind of like 50-50 almost. No is at like 53%. It's almost like 50-50. So I'll keep it short here. How about that? It's actually like, it's almost exactly 50-50. That's kind of surprising. I really thought that I really thought it would be like 80% no, to be honest. Okay, so I'll give some tips for middle school. And how about this? To all the high schoolers and college students here, give your tips in the stream chat as well. I'll give my advice, and I want you guys to sort of give your advice as well. Or just simply agree with my advice if you think it's true, or if you think it's wrong, just correct me and sort of give your thoughts. But I think with middle school, all you really have to focus on, or not all you have to focus on, but I think, if we're talking about college admissions or getting into a good college sort of being like the end goal here, focus on academics. Focus on getting into the hardest classes you can get into, because that'll influence the courses you can take your freshman, sophomore, junior, or like your freshman year of high school, essentially. For example, because I was in like honors math courses in 8th grade, I was able to dive into, honors math courses as soon as I entered high school. So I think that's tip number one. Tip number two, if you want to explore like extracurricular interests, you can. But many students don't start like their big extracurricular activities until high school. So don't feel like you have to like cure cancer or do research or do any crazy things in middle school. If you have the chance to do so, sure, I do explore your interest, but don't feel that unnecessary pressure. And not Misael, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Said, you got any tips in art schools? If so, what tips do you have? I feel really bad that you paid, did the $5 super chat. Unfortunately, I don't have any tips for art school specifically. How about this? If you DM me on Instagram, my handle is GoHorseGuide, and tell me that you were on this live stream and you were the one asking about art schools, I'll try to find some information. Maybe I'll ask a friend, and I'll give you the best advice that I can. And to everyone here, I do my best to answer my Instagram DMs. Unfortunately, I don't get through all of them. It's kind of hard to kind of keep up all the time. But if you have any specific questions, DM me on Instagram. My handle is GoHarsGuide. And yeah, tell me that you were on the live stream. Maybe tell me what your favorite part was. And yeah, I'll try to get to your question. And we got a $4.99 super chat from Jake. Thank you so much. Tips for bad teachers. Jake, I feel so bad. We covered a bad. That was like the first thing we covered in this live stream. But I'll go ahead and give you my kind of synopsis of the advice that I gave. So essentially, I said, with bad teachers, I think a big issue is that sometimes it's not the fact that the teacher is bad. I think it's just that students find it hard to get interested in a particular subject. So tip number one, if you can find a way to reframe the subject in a way where it seems more interesting to you, by all means do so. But the second piece of advice, honestly, is to if you have bad teachers, for example, that maybe go through slides too fast or don't answer questions or just kind of somewhat confusing, you're best off learning on your own and sort of leveraging online resources to teach yourself the subjects that maybe your teacher isn't teaching that well. And I think we live in a great era where YouTube has a plethora of just fantastic teachers that are pretty much covering, AP courses in their entirety, and in a way that's incredibly engaging. And one example that comes to mind is Heimler's history. I mentioned him earlier. For example, if your AP US history teacher is kind of hard to understand, you have Heimler on YouTube who you can go to and kind of get the best APUSH lessons on the internet. And, there are other AP teachers as well that I can't really recall the names of, but I think finding those teachers online and kind of self-learning is the best approach that you can take in the case of bad teachers. Let's see. Is it fine not to have taken AP courses in sophomore year? It's fine. I think it ultimately depends on your goals, right? If you're trying to get into like an Ivy League and your school offers like 20 AP classes, in that case, you should have some under your belt sophomore year. But if your school offers none or only like one or two, and maybe you want to take them junior year, then yeah, it's totally fine if you don't take them, sophomore year. What do you think of Khan Academy? Khan Academy is fantastic. Sal Khan is the GOAT. I've actually talked to Sal Khan 2 times. I was on like 2 Zoom calls with him. It's funny because we did both calls with the intention that I would just clip up the call and upload like a bunch of TikToks, and I never found the chance to do so. I think I still have the recording of our call. Maybe I can clip it up and upload them to TikTok if you guys would be interested. It's like me and Sal just talking about like college admissions for like an hour pretty much. I feel like I would have to get his permission if I just decide to like upload our conversation randomly, because this happened like a year ago. Middle school tips. Tips for student council. Extracurriculars. Alright, student council election tips. I'm not going to give my advice here because I actually didn't run for like student council president or vice president. But my younger brother, Maha, did. I believe he was vice president of student council. Maybe in my next live stream I'll have him and he can give you his advice. Tips for starting a study group. Get a study group chat. Keep it small. Don't let it go beyond like 4 people, maybe 5. But I feel like when you hit 5 people in a study group, that's when it starts to get like kind of chaotic. And for example, if you guys all decide to meet up, it might be kind of hard to focus. So yeah, study group, keep it small. And if you guys do decide to study together, just set a timer. Like make sure that everyone is like focusing on their work, and maybe even have your friends like put their phones off to the side, and only focus on work while that timer is counting down. This is kind of peaceful. It's just like stacking rocks. Okay. I did this last stream. By the way, are there any other fun websites, guys, that I can like do on like or just play during the live stream? I think you have like Town of Salem. I've never played Town of Salem. I think there's like Crunker, but I don't think that's like suitable for what you guys are like into. There's Scribble. But yeah, if you guys have any other game suggestions, like hit me up. Instagram here. More than happy to kind of give my cool math. Wait, cool math? That's actually such a good idea. That's such a great idea. I haven't played cool math in years. All right, have you guys ever done cool math before? Let me know. I'm guessing everyone here is gonna say yes, or hopefully say yes. But yeah, I haven't done cool math in so long. Yes, yes, yes. Here, let me just go here for a second. Oh man, this is like nostalgia right here. What is your favorite cool math game? Cool math to go? Oh yeah. I swear, like back in middle school, high school, like whenever we went to like the computer lab, like everyone would just do cool math as soon as they finished an assignment. Top 10 games. I'm trying to find like a game, popular games. Okay, maybe something here that I'm. Okay, I played IQ Ball before. Snake. Well, let's do Snake. Why not? Start simple here. Oh, they have ads on Cool Math now? No way. Or like video ads, I guess, which is kind of nuts. Because I remember in the past they had like banner ads. Like sure, like every website has that, but someone says, "Bro, I'm about to be in my third week of school." 4-3. That's crazy. So you started what, like early August? Okay. Oh, whoa. Okay, let's play again. Oh, my keyboard. There we go. Cool. Okay, so maybe can I catch a question while I'm playing this? All right, guys, ask your questions. I'm gonna try to catch one and then just answer it while I'm playing this. Oh, this is gonna be tough. Oh, there we go. We got this. Hey, Gohar, how did I create Next Admit? Are we talking about the website, the company? I founded Next Admit back in 2020. And by the way, guys, Next Admit is my business. I don't like plugging it often because it feels like, I don't want to like sell you guys things all the time. But yeah, if you guys want help with your college essays, feel free to check out Next Admit. It's a company that my brother and I started. We've helped tons of students, with their college essays. We've gotten on calls with students, kind of help them navigate the college admissions process. And yeah, if you want more college app advice, feel free to check out the website. I believe it's a pinned message on the stream chat, and the URL is nextadmit.com. What else do we have? Is AP Calc AB in freshman overkill? That's intense. Yeah. I mean, but once again, it all depends on your experience with math. Like, if you have taken pre-calc, in middle school, then maybe AB Calc might not be terrible. Honestly, if I had the chance to take pre-calc in middle school and then take AP Calc in freshman year of high school, I would have taken that opportunity easily. What's the best AP class? Okay, so if we're talking like, I'm gonna kind of answer this differently slightly. I'll say what I think is the easiest AP class. I think AP Environmental Science, AP Psych, and AP Gov are some of the easiest AP classes. I feel like AP Stats is also up there. I remember when I took AP Stats, I thought it was one of the easier AP classes. All right, I'm surprised that we're still going here. Someone says, is Sean your brother? Yeah, Sean is my brother. Mahad and Sean are both my brothers, and they're both content creators. I forgot AP Computer Science Principles. I've heard that's easy. My school didn't offer it though, so that's why I guess I didn't list it. I'm kind of speaking from just like my personal experience. Oh, I'm trying to read while doing this. Tips for 8th grade, please. Tips for IB students. Oh, come on. 125. All right. Not bad. Not bad. Let's see. Play again here. We kind of just did middle school tips. I kind of want to address a question that might be helpful for like everyone here. Return to game. Okay, so 125 is their high score. I'm going to go ahead and try to beat that. Should I drop out for drop shipping? No. Tips for how to get into Cornell. Okay, so I think it might just be better to just say tips for getting into an Ivy League. Do you guys want me to talk about Ivy Leagues, like Ivy League tips? Let me know, like how to get into an Ivy League, sort of like what I did in high school, what I think they look for. Let me know, and I would be more than happy to talk about like Ivy League strategy. Yes, yes. All right, cool. Let's talk about Ivy Leagues for a little bit. And I'm sorry if you have been in my past live streams, because I've kind of said this advice before, but Ivy Leagues are, first of all of the Ivies are different, right? And I think a lot of students, when they tell you they're aiming for the Ivy League or that they're going to apply to all the Ivy Leagues, you kind of know that they're just doing it for the name, for the prestige. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, that's wrong, because that was part of my like thought process as well in high school, right? Like for me, it was like, I want a really good job. The Ivy Leagues have really good name recognition. Like it's not a bad reason. And I don't think you should like let people shame you for wanting to apply to a bunch of Ivies because of the prestige, because it's like an unfortunate reality of kind of how the world works, right? Like prestige, like people notice, employers will notice. But I will say, while some employers will notice, you can get fantastic jobs even without an Ivy League, diploma, obviously. But, if prestige is one of your reasons, cool. So my first piece of advice for the Ivies is that academics come first. These schools want to see that you have spent your 4 years of high school challenging yourself academically, taking the hardest courses you can, and they want to see that you have done well in all of those courses. I think that's sort of like the bare requirement. I think if you have a lower GPA, if you have lower grades, a high test score might not necessarily compensate for that, unfortunately. Like your GPA is going to be the most important part of your application. So if you haven't already, tip number 1, build the study habits, take the hardest courses you can, and make sure that you excel academically. Tip number 2 is that Ivy Leagues get thousands and thousands of applicants, like tens of thousands of applicants, more than they can accept. And so ultimately, while academics are like the first threshold or the first thing they'll look at, in your application, your academics alone won't be what get you in. Like what'll get you in are your extracurricular activities, your soft factors, your personality, your academic interests, your accomplishments. And these will come through in your essays, your activities list, your letters of recommendation, and your interview. And so, once you've nailed the academic component, figure out what your spike or what the theme of your application is going to be. And here's what I mean. When most students apply to Ivy Leagues, or the students who get in, tend to have a very nuanced academic interest. For example, someone might be the biology superstar, someone might have started a business when they were super young, someone might have, started a nonprofit organization that's gained like 10,000 members. Figure out sort of what your theme, what your sort of play is going to be, and make sure it aligns with your passions, and make sure it's something that you can go very far in. In my case, it was starting an online business, writing blogs. It was very like entrepreneurship oriented. And that aligned with, my passions, what I was good at, which was like design and web development. And, I sort of carved out that spike for me throughout high school. And so that's like the second most important component of your application, if you're trying to apply to an Ivy League school. And I'm sorry if I'm just kind of blabbering on here. I'm just like so focused on this game right now that like I'm talking, but at the same time, I'm just like staring at the screen right now. But, I think the advice is still holds true. And the reality is I can keep going on for like an hour about Ivy League admissions. Like I can talk about letters of rec, sports, the interview process, but I think that'll just turn into a rant that's just way too long. And I feel like I should just make a video, like a long video about this instead. Unless you guys want me to keep ranting, in which case maybe I'll continue. All right, I got the 199 super. So I'm gonna have to scroll up and read the super chat while also surviving in Snake. So let's see. B1, thank you so much for the 199 super chat. Jokes on you, mate. I already started school. Yeah, no, I think I did a poll at the start of the stream, and like 40% of you guys have already started school. Oh, I'm about to die. I'm about to die. There's no way I survive this. 165. All right, not bad. You know, we'll take it. Let's scroll down here. I kind of forgot how fun Cool Math Games was. Maybe we'll do this on the next stream as well. Let's see. What college are you at or were you at? So I graduated from MIT a couple years ago. I studied 614 and 152, which is like MIT speak for computer science and business essentially. 614 more specifically stands for computer science, economics, and data science, and 152 is business analytics. Let's see. All right. Here, what other cool math game should I play? Let's go down to the popular games. Oh, Block Wars. This one was a fun one. Hardest game, the world's hardest game. Let me go ahead and try that. I think I've played this a couple times. I don't think I ever went too far, but should I drop out from my YouTube channel? No. And once again, guys, if you're just tuning in and I have not answered your question, feel free to DM me on Instagram. My handle is at GoHardsGuide. Let me mute this. It's kind of loud. And yeah, I try to answer a handful of DMs every day, and I'll do my best to answer yours. If you just shoot me a message with your question. And also at the same time, if you guys are just now tuning into the stream, I started a channel membership, and I plan to do some members only live streams in the future where maybe it's like fewer of us, and I can answer questions more easily. So if you want to join the channel membership, feel free to do so. I believe you can click the plus button, but no pressure whatsoever. Oh, okay. Oh my god. What? I feel like I'm missing out on some strategy here. Do you have a brother named Shayan? I don't know if this is the same person asking or if this is someone else. Yeah, I do have a brother named Shayan Khan. Yeah, he also makes content. He makes like space-related content. He's asking this question so often. Yes, Shayan is my brother, my youngest brother. I just joined. Thank you so much. All right, here we go. Let me answer a question here. Tips for TJ High School. So I didn't go to... my high school is kind of chill, so I don't think I can give like advice for that school in particular, but I do have I had a lot of friends at MIT who went there. All right, and I think with that, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up today's live stream. I've been streaming for about an hour. It's been a ton of fun. This was super enjoyable. Maybe I'll do another live stream a week from now. Maybe we'll do these live streams weekly. How about that? Do you guys want weekly live streams? I think I've said this like every stream so far, but maybe it's time to kind of get into that habit. But guys, thank you for tuning in today. This was a ton of fun. DM me on Instagram if you want help. Check out Next Admit if you want help with your college essays. And yeah, more videos, more streams, more shorts, all that good stuff coming soon. So thank you again, guys, for tuning in, and I'll see you again next week.